Welcome to Economics Binoculars. No matter how you measure it, nominal GDP per capita, purchasing power, GDP per capita, IMF data, World Bank reports, or UN statistics, one country consistently claims the top spot as the wealthiest in the world, Luxembourg. Yep, this tiny nation, smaller than Rhode Island, boasts one of the highest GDP per capita in the world. It's a financial giant packed into a pocket-sized country. How did Luxembourg become so rich? Without further ado, let's dive in. In this video, you will learn 1. A tiny country with a big history. 2. How Luxembourg makes its money. 3. The secret sauce of Luxembourg economy. Luxembourg may be tiny, but don't let its size fool you. Located between Belgium, Germany, and France, this small European nation covers just 2,586 square kilometers, about half the size of Delaware. Despite its small footprint, Luxembourg is a country of rolling hills, dense forests, and picturesque rivers, making it look straight out of a fairy tale. But it wasn't its scenery that made it rich. It was strategy, adaptability, and a little bit of luck. A little history of Luxembourg. Back in the 19th century, Luxembourg wasn't a financial hub. It was a small, rural economy based on agriculture. But everything changed when they discovered iron ore. With the Industrial Revolution in full swing, Luxembourg became a major player in steel production. The country's steel industry, led by companies like Arbed, now part of ArcelorMittal, fueled economic growth and modernization. For decades, steel was king. By the early 20th century, Luxembourg had one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world, all thanks to its booming steel exports. The country played a major role in European steel production, and the industry provided thousands of jobs. But as with all good things, it didn't last forever. By the 1970s and 1980s, the global steel industry faced a crisis. Production was shifting to cheaper markets, competition was rising, and Luxembourg's iron ore reserves were drying up. The country had a choice: either cling to a dying industry or reinvent itself. And oh boy, did they choose reinvention. Instead of sticking with heavy industry, Luxembourg made a bold pivot into banking and financial services. The government introduced business-friendly policies, encouraged foreign investment, and slowly transformed the country into a global financial hub. Today, steel is no longer the backbone of Luxembourg's economy. It's finance, banking, and investment. Luxembourg boasts a nominal GDP of around $91.2 billion in 2024 and an astounding GDP per capita of over $135,000, the highest in the world. That's 75% more than the United States. But how did it pull off such a massive shift from steel to finance? Luxembourg didn't just get rich by accident. Its economy is highly diversified and strategically positioned for growth. Here's a quick breakdown of Luxembourg's key economic sectors. Financial services, 25%, home to over 125 plus banks and 4.6 trillion euros in assets under management. Luxembourg is one of the world's biggest financial hubs. Industry and manufacturing, 12%. Steel may not be king anymore, but Luxembourg still has strong industrial sectors like automotive parts, chemicals, and logistics. Information and communication technology, ICT, 15%. Luxembourg is a leader in tech, cybersecurity, and satellite communications. Fun fact, SES, one of the world's largest satellite operators, is based here. Retail and wholesale trade, 10%. A key sector that supports the economy through both exports and domestic spending. Transport and logistics, 8%. Thanks to its central location, Luxembourg is a major player in freight transport and distribution across Europe. Tourism and other services, 30%. Despite its size, Luxembourg attracts over 1 million tourists annually, and its high quality of life supports a strong domestic services industry. Let's look at Luxembourg's trade. Top export partners: Germany, 24%, France, 16%, Belgium, 13%, United States, 8%, Netherlands, 5%. Top import partners: Belgium, 29%, Germany, 26%, France, 11%, Netherlands, 6%, China, 5%. Main exports: machinery, steel products, satellites, pharmaceuticals, banking and financial services. Main imports: consumer goods, cars, chemicals, and energy resources. And let's not forget Luxembourg's GDP growth. Despite global economic challenges, since 2020 COVID-19 impact, Luxembourg's GDP has grown by an average of 3% per year, keeping its economy strong and resilient. It sounds like many countries can do what Luxembourg did, but there is only one number one richest country in the world. If there is a secret sauce of economy of Luxembourg, they are banking, taxes, and business-friendly policies. Luxembourg is basically the VIP lounge of the global financial system. Here's why. Number 1. Tax-friendly policies. Corporations love Luxembourg because of its low corporate tax rates and business-friendly regulations. Many multinational companies, Amazon, PayPal, and Skype, to name a few, set up European headquarters here. Number 2. Financial services hub. The country is home to one of the largest investment fund industries in the world, second only to the US. If you have a European mutual fund, there's a good chance Luxembourg has something to do with it. Number 3. Banking privacy. Well, used to be. Luxembourg once had a reputation for being a tax haven. While they've tightened regulations in recent years, their banking sector is still massive and attracts wealthy investors from all over the world. Number 4. Strategic location. Smack in the middle of Europe, Luxembourg is a prime business hub between Germany, France, and Belgium. That's like having a lemonade stand between 3 giant theme parks. So, we've seen how Luxembourg became one of the richest countries in the world. But wealth alone doesn't tell the full story. To truly measure the health of an economy, we need to look at multiple factors. Here are 5 key criteria that economists use to assess a country's economic health, and let's see how Luxembourg scores. 1. GDP. We must give Luxembourg A+ in this category, but remember, GDP per capita doesn't mean everyone's rolling in cash. It's just that the country, on average, produces a ton of wealth per person. 2. Purchasing power. Big Mac Index. Now, having a high GDP per capita is great, but how far does your money actually go? That's where purchasing power comes in. One fun way to measure this is the Big Mac Index, because let's be honest, a burger-based economy makes more sense than some financial models. The Big Mac Index is a price index that compares the price of a McDonald's Big Mac in different countries. It's used to measure purchasing power parity, PPP. A Big Mac in Luxembourg City costs $4.93. Despite being the most wealthy country, its Big Mac are nowhere near the top 3 most expensive Big Macs in the world. Switzerland, $7.73, Norway, $6.92, and Uruguay, $6.86. Surprisingly, a Big Mac in Luxembourg is even slightly cheaper than the US average. But wait, there's cherry on the top. How fast can an average worker, aka a median salary worker, earn a burger? In Luxembourg, it only takes 10.3 minutes of work to buy a Big Mac, ranking number 2 in the world. The only place faster? Hong Kong, at 8.6 minutes. For comparison, Switzerland, 11.5 minutes. Not bad, but hey, every minute counts when you're hungry. France, 18.5 minutes, though let's be real, the French would probably rather have a croissant. Speaking of croissants, a standard bakery croissant in Paris costs $1.30 to $1.50, which isn't cheap compared to where I am on the east coast of the US. Just giving you an idea, Luxembourg's GDP per capita is almost equal the US and France combined, but its Big Mac is cheaper and won't take long to earn one as a local worker. So Luxembourg's high wages make life relatively very affordable. It's another A+. 3. Income inequality, Gini coefficient. Luxembourg has a relatively low Gini coefficient at 32, meaning wealth is spread out better than in countries like the US, about 41, but not quite as equal as the Nordic countries, 25 to 27. Translation? There's inequality, but it's not extreme. Thanks to a strong social safety net, universal healthcare, and generous welfare policies, most citizens are doing okay. But housing affordability is a growing concern. So while people can buy Big Macs quickly, buying a house, that's a totally different story. In this criteria, Luxembourg is a B+. 4th, debt to GDP ratio. Luxembourg is one of the least indebted advanced economies in the world, with a debt to GDP ratio of just approximately 25%. It's a solid A+. For comparison, Germany, 65%, the responsible one in the EU family. France, 110%. Oh la la, that's a lot of debt. US, 120%, spending like there's no tomorrow. Japan, 250%. Wait, what? 5. Corruption Perception Index. Luxembourg consistently ranks among the least corrupt countries in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index. Its strong institutions, banking regulations, and legal frameworks keep corruption levels low, making it one of the most trusted financial hubs in the world. Unlike some countries where money mysteriously disappears, Luxembourg is known for strict financial oversight. That's why it's a banking powerhouse. Because when rich people want to hide money, they want to do it somewhere. Secure. It's an A in this criteria. That brings us an overall grade A for the health of economy. Luxembourg's economy is one of the strongest in the world, with high productivity, financial stability, and relatively fair wealth distribution. However, challenges like housing affordability and over-reliance on the finance sector could pose risks in the long term. If it can diversify its economy, manage its cost of living, and maintain its financial advantages, Luxembourg will definitely remain an economic powerhouse for years to come. And that's a wrap. What do you think? Does Luxembourg deserve an A, or would you grade it differently? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's economies. See you in the next video.